So remember, Ahab died in battle as
Mm-hmm.
a result of what he received in battle, right? So Jehu, uh, responding to that death, seized power
Mm-hmm.
and started the house of
Slaughtered.
Ahab, but he also killed friends who were not of the household of Ahab.
That's
He
what I
killed
said.
them to visit,
Yeah,
right?
Uriah's people.
To do with Ahab's reign. And so he killed the innocent
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah,
his
the
zeal.
42 from Judah.
He killed the innocent in his zeal, right? So there was blood to be avenged, but not
Will be the innocent
directly
blood.
on himself, but the house of Jehu. We have to understand what the Bible means when it says the house of. All right? It's indicating lineage,
Mm-hmm.
the generations that follow.
Mm-hmm. Somebody
So
gonna
from
pay
one,
it.
his sons, his grandsons, his great grand, all of these are of the household of that particular person. They can trace their lineage back to him.
Mm-hmm.
So when he says avenging the household of, it means those persons who can directly trace their genetic lineage back to this fella. So when God says he's going to destroy the house of X, it includes everybody who is familiar, related to this fella,
Mm-hmm.
directly related to him. Sons, grandsons, great grandsons, goes down and down and down and
Anybody.
down.
Yeah.
But interestingly, there was a law that was passed. God had set a law that says that the sins of the fathers should not fall on the sons. So if it is that this generation was going to be destroyed, it was not based on Jehu's crime. It was based on
Their
their
own.
own.
And I wouldn't be surprised because none of them did good after he left.
They didn't do anything wonderful. God
They did
knew
nothing good.
it to happen. So he says, in just a little while, let them complete this four generation thing. And then I'm gonna destroy them. That's why it says, in just a little while, let the
Let me keep my
generation
promise.
as I had promised, and then I will just get rid of them.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is, it is not the Jehu who's going to be um, suffering at that point. It's not Jehu's son. It is not Jehu's grandson. It is
Mm-hmm.
Jehu's great grandchildren, and the progenies from that. That's
Yes,
going
and
to
that's the
have.
fourth generation.
That's the fourth generation. They had time because guess what? They had the prophecy that says you will have four generations of people on the throne from you. They
Mm-hmm.
had opportunity to ask God to change their ways and to ask God to change his mind, which he would have.
Yes, he has repented of many things that he has promised
Yes,
a lot of
he
times.
have and could have, but they didn't do it. None of them, which is the sad part. You know, if I was in the fourth generation and I know the prophecy, I would be in sackcloth and ashes and making sure. But no, no, nobody bothered. It's strange, but it happens, and this shows us that prophecy happens the way it is said to be happening, in spite of, not because of, in spite of prophecy.
No, but Jackie, funny enough, like you said, they knew because Jehu's son, Jeho, how you pronounce it? Jehoas. I can never pronounce his name. His son followed his his family, Jeroboam, until he realized that Haram was really oppressing his people. And then he turned to God and pleaded with God. So he found out that if he turns to God, God will do something. But he still never learned. 'Cause after God removed Aram's power over them, he went right back.
Look, we must remember why this turn to Baal happened in the first place, and it continued. It was because the kings of Israel were afraid of the people. They thought, like Jeroboam did, that if the people were to go back to Jerusalem and start worshiping Yahweh, they would then want reunification of Israel under the kings of the house of David. And so their kingdoms would not remain. The kingdom that they ruled as Israel would cease to exist. Israel would then be reunited. They didn't want that. So they kept with the Baals.
Yeah, because that's exactly what I found here too. Because although Jehu's son, not his grandson, his son, after Aaron's kings and people had control over them, and he turned to God, and God found a deliverer for Israel, and Israel escaped. The Israelites still remained worshiping Baal.
Yeah.
Although the king wanted to turn, the people didn't.
Listen, they had the prophets there. They had
Yes.
two types of prophets. They had the prophets of Baal and they had the prophets of Yahweh.
Yep.
Okay? And they knew that the
They
prophets of
knew.
Yahweh, because every time and everything they said about and to them came true just as they said. So they well knew that
They knew.
Yahweh's prophets were true and that Yahweh was the true and single God that they should, but they did not.
They refused. They liked where they were.
They like power. And we
Mhm.
see that evident by the number of coups and
Yeah.
counter coups and
Mhm.
cut politics that took place
Mm-hmm.
in Israel. It
Very
was
bloody.
tumultuous. You
Yeah.
were killed for a time and then you were in imminent danger because somebody was coming to
Wanted,
cut you through.
somebody wanted your power.
So Israel was a set of, as I would say, um, tarantulas in a jar, right?
Yep.
So that's just the way it was. But let's not get too far off
All
where we
right.
are
Let's
with.
go to verse 5.
No, we're not done yet.
Oh, let's go.
And will cause to seize the kingdom of the house of Israel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Israel is done.
So we're looking at this. I will avenge the blood of Jezreel upon the house of Jehu, and then I will cause to cease the kingdom of the house of Israel. Right? So the kingdom is going to be abolished. No more kings
I
after the
love how
house of.
Amos put it.
That's it.
Amos described it beautifully. I love Amos. Amos chapter 7, verse 9 says, the high places of Isaac will be deserted, and the sanctuaries of Israel will be laid waste, and I will rise up against the house of Jeroboam with my sword. That's
So,
this is that's what's going to happen.
So Israel as a kingdom will cease
To
to,
exist, and
yep.
just left me 2 foot on my, on my hand.
right?
And then explain why in 5. How?
So can we go 5?
And it shall come to pass at that day that I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel. Well, I found something in Second King chapter 15.
Hmm.
I'm going to read from verse 27.
Hmm.
In the 52nd year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekah, the son of Remaliah, began to reign over Israel in Samaria, and reigned 20 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. So, in the days of Pekah, king of Israel, came Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and took Ijon and Abel-Bet Maacah, and Jonah, and Kedesh, and Hazor, and Gilead, and Galilee, and all the land of Naphtali, and carried them captive to Assyria.
Right?
And Hosea, the son of Hela, made a conspiracy against Pekah, the son of Remaliah, and smote him and slew him and reigned in his stead in the 20th year of Jotham, the son of Uzziah. Yeah, and then there's more to that. But we see that what happened to them after was exile.
We must understand that the process of dismantling the kingdom was not an immediate thing.
It started from Jehu's time.
Right. It was a process of attrition.
Yeah, it
Then
started a long time ago.
gradually. And
Hmm.
then so a period, there was a collapse, right? When the
Hmm.
Assyrians came in, gradually taking places, taking towns, taking cities, and then emboldened, they came in and just took everything.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm. Because we found out that Aram took part in Jehu's time, so it was getting smaller and smaller.
All right?
But
They were born.
interestingly,
Mhm.
I'm looking. God says, I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel. And I'm looking from Joshua's days. Jezreel was always the valley of the battles. When they were fighting the Canaanites, that's where they fought. So Jezreel was really a valley of blood. Because remember, Saul was defeated there. And now, here God is saying, I'm going to destroy Israel. I'm going to break it up in that valley. Because that valley was noted for battles. That's where Israel fought quite a few of their battles against their enemies.
yep, that valley was like the slaughter.
That was the battlefield.
Mm.
And that's why the city was so fortified. Because that's where they fought a lot of the battles. And a lot of defeats and victories were done in that battle.
Well, Jeroboam tried to pull it back, and he did. He enlarged Israel back to the place it was. But
Hmm.
after that was it.
Yeah.
But God, he was going to avenge to destroy the house of Jeroboam.
Yep.
So a lot of people read it and don't. They read one part and it says, like here about the household of Jehu. He says he was going to totally annexate the house, the house of Jeroboam.
Because Jeroboam was the first king of the 10 tribes.
In Amos, he says he was going to slay Jeroboam by the sword.
Yes. Yes.
It,
Yeah. I
it,
just read that. Yeah. I just read that.
it, get the feeling that he was talking about Jeroboam, the person. So, and it happened.
Yeah. He did say, I'm going to put Jeroboam against with my sword. I will rise against the house of Jeroboam with my sword.
Exactly.
And the sword was Assyria.
So we can go back to Hosea. So Israel will cease to exist as a kingdom, not a
Nation.
nation. There's a difference.
Not
The
as a
king,
people, but as a nation.
the kingdom of the northern tribe will be eliminated, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the nation will continue.
Yeah. 2 foot and a hand will run away.
Yep. And heirs.
Yeah. A little bit, a remnant will be left. God always
Yep.
leave a remnant.
And
He
6
always leave a
says,
remnant.
and she, Gomer, conceived again and bare a daughter. And God said unto him, call her name Lo Rumha, for I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but
Yeah.
I will utterly take them away.
Yep.
And interestingly, Loroma means not pitied, not loved.
All right? But look at what Roma means.
Yeah. Because the law means not. What
Exactly.
Roma?
Lo
So
negates it.
yeah. So Roma means pitied or loved, but the law
Yeah,
means not.
exactly. The law negates it.
Because for, you'll notice, and I'm noticing that when you look at how the name is written, the law is by itself with a hyphen, with a dash. And when you
Yeah.
look at verse 9 with this other son, the law is there and then a dash. So the law
Yeah.
is a word all by itself. And then
It,
the actual piece.
it is saying not loved,
Yep.
Or no
not
mercy.
not pitied.
Not pitied, no mercy,
No
not
mercy
love.
going to the
Yep.
They're not giving
No
no
more.
mercy here. It means that
so
God was no longer having any compassion. I will no longer have mercy. I will no longer
it,
have compassion.
the mercy part I think is important. But for me, it's a not love part.
No, I'm looking at what he actually said. I will no longer have the mercy. But
Yeah, yeah,
this
yeah,
when
I
he says,
understand that.
I am not, you're no longer loved. God is saying he no longer loves Israel. Now that is significant.
That's it.
God says you're no longer loved.
Yeah. This is what God is describing here is divorce papers.
Yep. He's giving them a divorce paper and they never ever see it.
This is a divorce.
He's
I'm
abandoning her.
gonna put you away utterly and thoroughly, finally, and permanently disassociate myself with you. And it's not because I want to. It's because you have left me no choice. Not the nation, the kingdom.
Yeah, the kingdom. I will no longer have
So
this kingdom.
who talk about the great replacement theory? I keep saying it. They kind of use these things to say God has got rid of Israel and blah. No, no, no. We're talking about a specific thing, which is the kingdom of Israel. This is the
The
10
household.
tribes of God. And he remained faithful because he retained a remnant.
Hmm.
Back to
He
Judah.
didn't totally annihilate the nation because he promised Abraham. So he couldn't break that promise, but he never
But
said
not
never
just
don't punish them.
not just that. When you go back to Abraham, we have to go back to the story of Lot.
Hmm.
When when Abraham said, "Would you destroy the righteous with the unrighteous?"
Hmm.
He says, "No, I
Yeah.
wouldn't do that. God is a just God." So this is why a time frame was given with the prophecies that said this is what's going to happen. He that hath an ear, let him hear and leave. And that's what they did.
Yep.
Those people who were of a mind to hear God's word left Israel and went back to Judah.
It was just like Jesus' prophecies when
Precisely.
Jerusalem was going to be destroyed, and he gave the signs.
Those
Those who
persons,
heard fled.
yes, yes. And when the destruction happened, those people who remained, right, they went back to Israel. And that is why, right, that is why Israel became the reunited kingdom. Let's say Judah became
Him, the,
Israel again,
mhm.
right? Let me see if I can find it here. I have it written here. In Chronicles, I mentioned it, Second Chronicles 28:19. Ahaz is now called the king of Israel, but he was in
Yeah.
fact the king. All right, because Israel was again reconstituted, but they were now called Judah. All of the tribes were back together. That remained of the 10 came back to Israel, and so Judah was now Israel in its entirety. So Ahaz became the king of Israel. The northern tribes were gone. But those remnants came back to Judah
Hmm.
in Chronicles 28:19 for those persons who want to check that out. Okay, so we can go on.
No, I want to read 2 Kings 17 because verse 5
Yes,
and verse 6 covers
yes, it's
when God says, I will break the bow of Israel. In those days, the bow was a symbol of power. I will break the bow of Israel. That's significant. But and I will have no mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away. I want to read 2 Kings 17, 20 to 23.
yeah, I say what happens to them.
And the Lord rejected all the descendants of Israel, afflicted them, and delivered them into the hands of the plunderers, until he had cast them from his sight. For he tore Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Naboth king. Then Jeroboam drove Israel from following the Lord, and made them commit a great sin. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam which he did. They did not depart from them, until the Lord removed Israel from his sight, as he said by all his servants the prophets. So Israel was carried away from their own land to Assyria as it is to this day. So
Yeah,
it's
they
not,
were
I don't
placed
think it's
in,
from Jeroboam 1, 2, Jackie. It's from Jeroboam 1. From
Yeah,
the
just like
first, from when he broke away from Rehoboam and created Israel itself. It's from then
there.
God reject.
You're right there.
this was which verse, Janet?
2 Kings 17, 20 to 23.
Okay. Because that same chapter, verse 6, it says, in the 9th year of Hosea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Hala, in the harbor by the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes.
Mhm.
For
And
so it
so,
was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh king of Egypt, and had feared other gods, and walked in the statutes of the heathen from the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel, and of the kings of Israel which they had made.
so here is God saying, I will scatter with Jezreel, and I will have no more mercy, or they are no longer loved. And he did break their bow and totally destroy them.
But nevertheless,
Still left a remnant.
the Amos zeroed in on the remnant.
Yep, very important.
Remembered that there was a remnant that was supposed to stay and grow again.
Hey,
These people were the tribes that came back. So those people are saying the 10 tribes of Israel are lost, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, those are fine, no problem. But Israel existed after the 10 tribes were taken captive. So when the Bible says he's gonna be carrying back his children from wherever, and people are saying the 10 lost tribes are gonna come back, it has nothing to do with that.
yeah. And that pick up to my favorite verse in Amos.
Yeah,
Amos 3, verse 12. Thus saith the Lord, as the shepherd taketh out of the mouth of the lion 2 legs, or a piece of an ear, so shall the children of Israel be taken out at that dwell in Samaria, in the corner of a bed, and in Damascus in a couch. The
yeah,
mouth of the lion, which is Assyria, 2 legs and a piece of ear. Not even the full ear, a piece of the ear.
yeah. Those will remain. Those will be
Those are the
rescued.
remnants.
That's the remnant.
That's the remnant.
But we're out of time.
Already?
Yeah, baby
Oh
Donna.
man, I was just ready to move on. I was in a roll.
I noticed.
I'm
Welcome back.
enjoying I'm
Uh,
enjoying this.
it's full of history, yeah.
I'm enjoying this because now we did Amos last year and we enjoyed Amos and we saw the prophecy, but now doing Hosea, we are now seeing a connection. And because we have Chronicles and Kings, we are now seeing the full, not just the prophecy, but the fulfillment of those prophecies coming to light. And it's making the Bible real exciting. It's like you're delving into something. You're like, wow. And whatever
Yeah,
just don't seem enough.
when you find the connections, it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
there's no
So how
mistake
can
there.
they say how can they say the Bible is not true? We are looking at different books and seen the connections, because and we're seeing the connections. And how can they say that this is not what's happening? Huh? It
That's,
is the strangest things.
if the Jews refuse to read their own history and accept it, why would anybody else? Their
Yeah.
history.
It's their history, and their history is rich. I think they're too
We,
ashamed.
I don't think they're ashamed at all.
That's true. If they're ashamed, they would have probably change.
It's the same rebellious
oh,
spirit
yes.
And they rebel.
today. Just rebellion. So that's been the problem with Israel.
Yeah,
Rebellion.
they want to do their own thing. Heavenly Father, we come to you one more time to give you praise. We are thanking you for this history lesson. As we reconstitute what happened and we look at the prophecies and the history that the books of Kings and Chronicles shows us. And we are confirming that your Bible, your words are true as they are in the Bible. We want to give you praise because we are proving what you said we would in the end days, that the Bible would prove itself